The final week of the season, and it is the concluding week of the Winter Equestrian Festival. The Rolex Grand Prix, the US Equestrian Open, all on the table this week, which means we've been building up for 13 weeks to get to this point. The exciting climax of what has been an amazing season here in Florida. Join us here on WEF Weekly as we talk the Rolex Grand Prix. Welcome to the Winter Equestrian Festival and set for the finale week of competition here. The Rolex Grand Prix and joined with the US Equestrian Open as well. An amazing week of competition that features 6 of the world's top 10 here for a final battle for what is the finale of an amazing season of 3 months of the best doing battle here in Florida. On to all of the action that's been brought to you throughout the season on our live streaming too by Dodd Technologies, an industry leader in creative design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporates and special events as well. Visit us online at doddtechnologies.com. And also a live streaming brought to you by the USEF, supporting sponsor of our live stream in part with the support of the US Equestrian Federation and the USEF network as well. An amazing season of sport that we've seen, and already with 3 5-star Grand Prix behind us. Back to week 5 to the Fidelity Grand Prix. It was the Lugano Grand Prix on week 7 and the Bainbridge Grand Prix on to week 9. But now into the Rolex US Equestrian Open, part of the Rolex series as the concluding part of the season. $750,000 on the table for the Grand Prix here on Saturday nights. Several big days of big competition to come as well, with of course the Adequan WEF Challenge Cup as the qualifier and Friday's qualifier too. It's going to be a lot to get our teeth into here this week here in Wellington. So let's reflect on some of those big successes so far. And with 3 5-star Grand Prix behind us, it is very easy to pick through who've been our winners, because twice winner has been Kent Farrington and the fabulous Greyer. Back to the Fidelity Grand Prix on to week 5. They showed them how to do it and then followed up by doing it once again, which is a feat that's been certainly one that's been for the history books this season, with Lugano Grand Prix win as well. On to week 9 and to that Bainbridge Grand Prix with a new face on the block at the top of the leaderboard. The 24-year-old Emily Conter and Portobello van der Fruitkorf had plenty of family support for her big win, getting ahead of the likes of Henrik von Eckermann into that big 5-star Grand Prix. So we'll reflect on a little of that, and who better to reflect with than my lineup here this afternoon. And first up with the 2-time winner of Grand Prix already this season, Olympic medalist, it is Kent Farrington. Kent, what a season so far.
So far so good. Like most of us do, we're always looking ahead. So that's already in the past, but happy to be off to a good start.
Looking forward to this week. Mclain Ward, delighted to have you here. Mclain, winner of the Rolex Grand Prix previously, back in 2019, Olympic gold medalist. This is your second home, if you like. How are we feeling about this week? It does feel a little bit different when we get to the final week here.
Yeah, it's always the climax of a long season here, a great season of sport, and I think this is the big Grand Prix of the year so far here in South Florida, and we're all aiming to win it.
Richard Vogel, past winner of the Rolex Grand Prix as well, 2023. Amazing successes since then as well. You had a strong season indoors with the World Cups too. Some newer horses this season. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling good. They did some good and great developments, some very exciting horses for the future. But as you say, they are young and inexperienced. But we try to get to a good end here.
And how do you feel about coming into these weeks like this?
I feel very motivated. Yeah, it's the week everyone works up to. It's the Rolex week. So yeah, obviously the most important week. Yeah, as you said, I have a bit less experienced horses, but they did a good season here, so I think we're ready to go.
Ready to go. We're going to reflect as well on the Rolex series, because Wellington now part of the new Rolex series that was launched last year as well, bringing together some of the very best events from around the world, not just here in Wellington, but Rome, La Baule, Dinard, France, Dublin and Brussels, and who those winners were on those stages going back into 2024 as we tick into 2025. The first time it's taken place here in Wellington, and it kicked off in Rome last year with a US win, actually, with that of Carl Cook and Caracol de la Roque. Let's take a look there. And then Kent Farrington and Greer back at the top of the table in La Baule. They were doing close battle in the each of those stages. Dinard, it was France and Kevin Sturt and Baudelaire Lobrezet. Dublin saw Martin Fuchs and his win with Cornigier, and Brussels to Jose Maria La Roca of Argentina and Finlente. We see who will add their name to the list. Little run back to the season of last year and take a look at the first of those US wins, which was in Rome, which was Carl Cook. And congratulations to him, getting off to a fine start in the Piazza di Siena. Beautiful spot there in Rome, one of the great traditional shows, part of the Rolex series. And again, fired up the series to start off in Rome. Before we then headed on to France and La Baule for the battle there. Kent, you can probably talk best about this one with Greer.
Yeah, that was sort of our first big ask, let's say. The jump off was very fast. Carl was actually winning with the same horse, one of the best horses in the world, so that was a tall order to go after him, and she really came to the party there and showed what she could do, and has even grown since then. So really proud of the horse, and that was a great first big win under her belt.
And all of those events in there that we see in the Rolex series, we can see what a beautiful spot is. That those that haven't been there, La Baule, Rome, all of those venues, just spectacular.
I mean, these are the best in the world. Rolex brings an added level of prestige to any event, but I think that those are already historically the best venues in our sport, and they're only getting better.
Mclain, you were featuring in several of those as well. Dinard, you had a good win there as well, and battling away for those Rolex series events. Again, as you say, it's lifted it up another gear.
Absolutely. I think they've gone into iconic venues of our sport, the places we all have grown up dreaming to win, and made those events even better, even more prestigious. And I think it's really what most of the top riders of the world are going after.
Excellent. As you say, it was some early US good runs. Carl, as you say, in the end finished second in La Baule into that Grand Prix there. Let's reflect on the Grand Prix here, though, for last year as well in the Rolex Grand Prix here in Wellington. A 1-2-3 of Christian Cook of Mclain Ward and Carl Cook from that overall lineup. Christian Cook and Checker, the winners there, to be on another big night. But Mclain has come to you. I mean, again, is it enjoyable battle, enjoyable sport at this point? You were jumping Ilix, which we'll see in a second.
Yes, I mean, it's always, but listen, we love the battle. That's why we play the game. Ilix was quite a new horse for me at this stage. I'd only been riding the horse probably about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and he performed brilliant. We had kind of aimed towards the Nations Cup the week before in Ocala, League of Nations, and then to this big Grand Prix. He had a super performance. I actually thought I had done enough. But Checker's a very fast horse, as we've seen. Went on to win the Olympic Games as well as several other big Grand Prix around the world. So probably not embarrassing to be beat by this one.
Let's have a little look at that with Ilix from last year's Rolex Grand Prix as well. As
so
you
I had
say.
a great turn 1 to 2, but Ilix is a slower type horse than Checker. And then down to this combination, even though I did the leave-outs, he has such a big stride. You see I'm slowing down. And then he threw in a little buck, which has been a bit of a signature, and you certainly lost time. I think everything else showed up basically the way I could have hoped. Great turn there. But as you see, I'm doing the leave-out strides and not kicking as hard as Christian was able to. So, that's a little bit horse type, and sometimes horses can be a little quicker, particularly over a certain course. I mean, the horse performed brilliant. He couldn't have done any more than I asked. Christian was just a little better on the night.
And as you say, you look at where that went later in the year. It went to Olympic gold and Olympic silver.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And also Caracol, as Ken said, for sure, one of the best horses in the world. I think one we'd all dream to ride.
We've actually got a little of Caracol and Carl here. We'll take a little look at that
Yeah, and arguably one of the fastest horses in the world. So you know, whenever you have this horse third in a jump off, it just shows you what a great performance. Oh, sorry, this was Karlinka, it wasn't Karakol.
Kalinka
Yeah.
in this one, yeah.
Which is also a brilliant horse. Unfortunately, she sustained an injury earlier in the summer, but also is a phenomenal horse and a very quick horse.
So Carl there featuring well into the Rolex Grand Prix as well through the season, as you say, a teammate of yours onto the Olympic Games. Again, it brings out the best. And Richie, you've been here a few seasons now. There's always just an amazing atmosphere in there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Even better when you win.
Even better when you win. I must say all the Saturday night lights are special, but okay, when it comes down to the Rolex week, the big final, it's a really special atmosphere, and you know, we love to perform well.
Well, we've been stepping it up this year here in Wellington, and talking of performing well and getting under the spotlight, Kent, let's talk about your 2 big wins already in the 5 stars. Again, that runs into the history books here. The first of them was on week 5 with Greer. As you say, Le Ball last season was 1 point in this horse's development. This is very much at the top of it now.
Yeah, we had the same builder from the Olympics, actually same builder at Le Ball. I think he's one of the best in the modern sport today. So that was a great way to kick off the season. Fast jump off, Kukok was winning with Checker again. I mean, which has been an amazingly consistent horse beyond his incredible results, winning Olympic gold and winning the big Grand Prix here last year. I mean, he's a very tough competitor. So he had to go first in the jump off, so I had an advantage of being able to watch him go at a better draw. So that probably helped me on that night.
And the nice thing is we get to see it again, because you then went and did it again on week 7 into the Lugano Grand Prix. I mean,
yeah, she was in top form. You know, it's a horse that's coming into her own. I was deciding whether or not I even show that week, but I thought she was up and running and good to get another round under her belt as I grow her experience. I thought this jump off was even better than the one previous, very smooth. And she was really taking me around, very confident in herself in this round. I thought she was at her best.
And how does that make you feel when you go in feeling that confidence, going, I think she's absolutely right for this?
Yeah, this is horse sport, so anything can happen. You know, you obviously, it's great when the horses are feeling good and you've had some good results, but it's a whole new night this week. And, you know, I don't think that my chances are any better than any of these other guys with their top horses either. It's a whole new day, and anybody can have a rail down. It's as simple as that.
I like that. It takes it all back to a new competition. Well, one further competition was week 9, and Emily Conser and Portobello van der Fruitkorf for the 24-year-old was besting the likes of King Edwards and Henrik von Eckermann on that night. Very different Grand Prix from this side of things. Richie, what were your takes on Emily's success there?
It was a big success for her. She had a good season all over or throughout the season. She performed very well with throughout all her horses, and I think this was just, you know, another proof that she's up there and, you know, doing a great job with her horses and building them up the right way. And actually 2 weeks after that Grand Prix also jumped double clear, 1 time fault in the first round, but no rail in the Nations Cup. So yeah, she's doing very well.
She proved the form.
Exactly.
And you've come through that in the last, because you're not that many years apart, the two of you.
No.
About 3 years apart? 3 years apart now?
3, yeah.
Let's talk this week. Richie, starting with you, because you know, we've seen you here with United Touch before now, and it's very easy to get, you know, bogged down in that one horse. But you've been building a new string, really, of horses here this year. You started off with a Grand Prix win to kick off the season. You even flew out to Hong Kong, did another Grand Prix out there with another set of horses. What's your feeling this week, and how has it gone this season?
Yeah, we have a good feeling. As you mentioned, United Touch unfortunately isn't here. We're the big of a newer and up-and-coming horses here, which I think Wellington is a great place to develop them and to, you know, let them grow into the bigger classes. They did very well. Obviously, some classes better, some classes less good, but obviously also from the classes that are not working out perfectly, you can almost learn more and, you know, get more of a heads up what do you have to improve and what you have to work on.
So talk specifics with me. Event de l'Erebus that started off the season.
Event de l'Erebus, yeah, we started to show him here. We got him very new, just in December. He won the Premier Grand Prix in the Premier Week, did that very well. Then we decided to take him for a couple of weeks on the grass field to get a feel how he's doing on the grass, which is also a great opportunity here. You can swap it up. And yeah, now we've been very focused on the Ocala week and obviously the Rolex week here. So we gave him a bit of a break in between, in middle of the circuit, and hopefully we can, come back strong for the Rolex week.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can. So what's the plan this week? Which horse?
I do Levi Nozar, 9 years old gelding, in the WEF qualifier, and then Event de l'Erebus jumps if we qualify the Saturday night lights.
Mclain,
Yes.
what's the plan?
Plan is my trusty partner Callis tomorrow in the qualifier. I'm very lucky to be pre-qualified, Kent and I, so it makes our life a little easier from some past successes. And then Ilix has lost a little time because I was out for a month with an injury, so he's a little late to start this season, but looked like he was rounding into form last week in the League of Nations with a double clear, and I'm hoping a good performance this Saturday.
Kent, are we going grayer again, or what colour are we going this time?
I have Tulena for the qualifier, and I have Gray for the Grand Prix. That's the plan.
And how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'll tell you Saturday night when it's over. But I think I have some nice horses to show, but I think all these guys do also. So it'll be a battle no matter what.
The three of you are up there in the world's top 10 right now. We've got 6 of the world's top 10 here this week. Kent, how much do you? I know you like a good competition. How much do you relish that idea of getting stuck into?
I mean, that's what we all want. We all want to be battling against the best, and that's the best competition. And I'm very proud that we have that here in America, and that's something that's really grown with Wellington over the years. We call this our home, or maybe Mclain, it's his second home, but this is where I live, and I'm proud of the sport that it's turned into here.
It's certainly great. Mclain, I mean, you've seen it grow. I mean, now it's sold out pretty well every Saturday night we come here.
Absolutely. I mean, I think from a sport and an entertainment point of view, it's a phenomenal event, particularly the 5-star events, and particularly this final. I think the level's getting better and better every year. You're seeing more of the world's top riders crossing the oceans to come here, which is raising also our internal level, and I think it's great to be part of. And I would say, I mean, listen, the three of us and any of the other top people love to win, but we particularly love to win when the best are in the field.
Richie, we've got a few more in from Germany this week. Sophie Hidders to stand up.
Yeah. That shows you how confident we feel about my performance. We had to bring Sophie in, so someone in the family wins something.
One of us will win it.
I agree.
One of us will win it. Brilliant. Let's take a look at the past winners of the Rolex Grand Prix here in Wellington as well, because it is an illustrious list of those from the past few years. Mclain Ward, going back to 2050s, we're going back there. Sergio Alvarez Moya, Ben Mayer, Margie Goldstein-Engel, Mclain Ward again, 2019. Daniel Deusser, winner in 2021. We spent a couple of years out on the grass as well. Ashley Bond winning there in 2022. 2023, Richard Vogel, who's with us right now, and the Olympic champions with Christian Kukuk in last year's winning combination. They're seeing that lineup, and again, you say, we've added as part of this year, it's the US Equestrian Open as well. It gives it even more feel, Kent, of this is what I want to win on home ground, I'm guessing.
I think we want to win all of them, but for sure the ones with more money and more prestige make us a little more hungry.
And for you, and we've talked about this before, riding into these arenas here where we do have these events with big crowds and everybody cheering everything on, it does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, as I said, I think it's great for our sport. You get a home crowd here. I think they cheer for everybody, but probably a little bit more for the American guys, which is great. Because in Europe we don't get that. They're cheering for everybody except us, or for sure a little less for us. So that's a nice change, being here at home with a real crowd that has grown to understand the sport and knows what it's all about.
And Mclain, I mean, you're on that roster several times, and actually if I go back further, I think it's 2009 with Sapphire, and it must have a lot of good memories for you.
It does, and actually, as I was looking at the list, I was thinking two things. One is the 2 times I was second on that list, and also in recent years I don't see Kent, so you're just giving him a little more fuel. I'm sure he's sitting here looking at that list thinking, the killer's coming out. So I was thinking that doesn't help us actually, don't inspire a killer. So, but yeah, it's a nice reflection of work that we've done and the level. But we also look to the future.
We actually do have a little. We do have a little, because the two of you did do Battle of 2019, I think you were second
Yeah.
to Mclain. We're going to maybe take a look at that in a second. But Richie's leaning forward going, I don't think I saw this one. I want to see this one. But let's take a look at that, because we've got a side-by-side to take a look of the two of you there. What do you both remember of this?
I remember that Mclain was going to go after me. I think it was a fast jump off, many clear already. I was with Gazelle, trusty partner there. A fast horse, not unbelievably fast, but super careful and very competitive. So I went about as fast as I thought I could go, and I think Mclain caught me on a very short turn to an oxer, which I had to give a little bit more space, and was a little bit quicker, I think, also into one combination. And I think we ended up, fractions apart there, which is our sport today.
Yeah.
The margins are small. The level is very, very high. And so I think you win some and you lose some by a hair here.
Hundredths of a second at the end of the day.
That's the game.
Mclain, what was your memory of that?
Yeah, I remember. It was the rollback left on a tiki hut oxer. And as you always moved a little bit to the left, you actually had to worry that she'd get there too quick. But I could also be very daring on that turn because she was so genuine and so much power, and I think that's probably where inches. And the last jump I was able to leave out to one stride, and okay, but it's inches,
It's inches. It's probably smaller than that.
Yeah, probably.
Richie, do you like going up against these guys?
Yeah, that's at the end of the day what makes you better. You only have to, or should try to compete with the best, or to people that do the sport better than you, so you learn something and you get challenged.
You've spent, what, 2-3 seasons here now?
That's my 4th season here.
4 seasons here now.
Fourth,
Because yes, you came in the under 25s as well, weren't you? What do you think you've learned from that now?
Oh, a lot of different things. Also, what I didn't do super well in the beginning is, to be smart where and how often I put my horses into the competitions. It's also a long circuit, especially if you don't have like a very big string of horses, then you also have to get clever. How often do I use my horse, which depends from horse to horse. It's very individual, but that's something I learned very early and very quick. And then obviously, as we mentioned earlier on, every week you compete against the best in the world, and that just higher your level and makes you always actually, it forces you to improve. It's not a choice, you have to, otherwise you can't keep up with them.
You're both big planners. I mean, Kent, both of you, brilliant strategic planning ahead of how you'll place your horses. How far ahead, Kent, do you think of where you're going to put this week together?
I don't know that it's by this particular week. I think it's looking at kind of the year as a whole, and then also being able to adapt with the horses, and that's really the hardest part of what we do. It's one thing to set out a plan, and it's another thing then to be able to adapt to what the horses can do in that moment. As I said, originally I wasn't sure I was going to jump week 7. Used the feeling that I had with the horse, where I thought she was at that moment, and decided to put her in that week, and that worked well. And I think that's part of what everybody does well at a high level. You've got a rough idea of a plan, then you're also able to adapt to the circumstances that arise and still make it work.
Mclain?
I would agree.
Because you had going back and being straight, you had a few weeks off this season because of your
Yes,
injury.
unfortunately I had a fall and had a small fracture of vertebrae, and so I had to sit out for a month. And I think actually the first 5-star Kent won here. I think I was here coaching and I walked home. And that was about 3.5 weeks. So that was kind of the end of that. I put myself down to ride the next morning. But I think, notoriously Kent and I both plan, think about things. We actually discuss a lot of things, work backwards. And also with maturity and a bit of experience, you get better at adapting, whether it be an injury to you, to a horse. A lot of times we have one horse going better, one horse not going as well for a variety of reasons. and adjusting your plan, but working off of that framework. And certainly it's more specific in a shorter time frame and a little looser in a longer time frame.
Let's have a little look, because we have got an amazing list of riders competing here this week, and as all part of the Rolex US Equestrian Open, but it includes 10 of the world's top 10 as part of that as well. And let's take a look at the top US riders first that we've got competing here this week. Kent Farrington, Mclain Ward, Laura Crack, Lily Keenan, Aaron Vale, just off the winning team last week in the Nations Cup as well. Carl Cook back in the frame as part of that lineup as well. Alex Matz were in Toronto last season. Spencer Smith, who's gone so very well this year. Alex Volpe and Mimi Gotchman, top 10 ranked US riders. And then let's take a look at our overall top 20 on the world rankings that we've got here this week as well, because we've got 10 of the world's top 20 competing here as well globally. That includes the world number 1, Henrik von Eckermann of Sweden. Kent Farrington, number 2. Ben Mayer is in there, world number 5. Christian Kukuk, the Olympic champion, coming back to try and win that once again. Mclain, Caroline, world number 7. Richard Vogel inside the top 10 at world number 9. And then onward down, Connor Swale has joined the party now, world number 11. He's been over in California. Cian O'Connor, Daniel Cause, several for the Irish there in Shane Sweetnam. Laura Crouch, the highest ranked lady rider as well, at world number 20, and Abdul Saeed, world 21. Your overall thoughts on that field? Because I think, Kent, that's the strongest field we've ever had here.
I mean, it's very strong, and that's what I think in the higher levels of competition today. Very hard to pick a winner or even to say someone is a favorite, because on a given day there's a big list of people that are capable of winning, which I think has been an evolution of our sport, where it was a much shorter list of real contenders for the win, and now I think if you look at that list, there's a lot of people that are capable of winning any competition, and certainly Saturday night.
Mclain, I mean, it's...
Absolutely, and also you see our 5-star winner from a few weeks ago. Not that we within the sport are surprised, but I'm certainly some of the public would be, and it just shows that you don't know 100%, and someone is capable of stepping up like that, and I think that keeps the sport very interesting.
Richie, when you won, you were probably a little not as well known as you are now when you won that.
Yeah,
How did that all feel?
It was a bit surreal, actually. It was not a big plan, long time ahead to put that horse into that Grand Prix, but he just also I got him just beginning of that circuit. We actually had him quite a bit in our stable. We developed him as a 5 and 6 years old. Cepano Balube, but then Veronica and her mom Molly Tracy, they kind of secured him for me at the time, beginning of the circuit in January, and ahead of that, my girlfriend Sophie Hinners rode him. So still I had to figure him out again, even though I knew the horse quite a long time already. And he did some great things, and he just felt, ready to go in such a big class, and luckily it paid off, and he performed even better than we all expected. But to actually go out of this class as a winner really felt surreal, and I remember I gave Mclain, because he also helped me a lot with the horse, I gave him a big hug after, because I beat him by just a little bit. So that was the thank you for all the help I received throughout the season.
That was some thank you.
I didn't breathe for a few
But yeah, it's something we won't forget.
Exactly. I mean, it does really, but as Kent said, the other thing is it really takes you into the year with a good run. I mean, you've had such an amazing run, Kent. I mean, what, 3 5-star Grand Prix wins already this season? But as everyone says, we've got to remember this is only the first quarter.
Yeah, it's a long year, and there's a lot of big competitions to come. So, as I said, this is what we do to start the year. Great to be off to a good start, but looking much further down the road than that.
And based on that, now you're world number 2 right now. You're very close on Henrik von Eckermann. This week could make a big difference as well. What you've done already could make a big difference as well. We've got the rankings coming out 1st of April.
Yeah, I think
Do you think
those
about
are,
that much or not?
You think about it because you always want to be world number 1. I think every rider wants to do that at some point in their career. Mclain's been world number 1. I've been world number 1 before. I'd love to get it back, but that should be a consequence of good planning and good results, and not something that you're chasing or adapting a plan in order to try to hit. I think that's where you see people make mistakes, and so I'm just going to stick to my routine, stick to my plan that I set out, and hopefully that gets us back there again.
Well, it's worked so far.
So far, so good.
Mclain, you, as Kent said, you've been world number one as well. Does it give you a different feeling when you ride into that ring, like Henrik gets a world number one?
You know, I think it was an accomplishment I was very proud of, and I did it, as Ken said, on my own terms, the way I want to compete, the way I like to do the sport, where you can see, you know, at times people chasing a bit, and that's not probably great for the long term. I mean, what Henrik's done to stay at the top of that list for 2+ or 3+ years is remarkable. I mean, and you certainly, it normally happens in a time when you have a brilliant horse like King Edward or Kent coming into this moment now with Gray. I believe he's going to be world number one, and I believe he'll hold it for a while. I hope so. I'd be proud to see an American up there. And I'd be proud to nip at his heels again and then remind him I show less, so it's okay if he
and that's the thing. I mean, it's the result, and for all three of you, in what have been long developed good programs with your horses now, isn't it? It doesn't just happen, Kent.
No,
we see what you do with.
Yeah, I think that those are different styles. You know, even in terms of how we do the sport, I like to get young horses and take my time, produce them up to a high level. They're usually horses I've had in my stable for a long time and brought them through the ranks, a bit like Richie was saying with his Sapano Balube horse. That's been a little bit the way that I've done it.
Yeah.
But there's many roads to Rome, and there's many ways to be successful. So that's kind of doing the sport on my terms and in my style of how I like to build the horses and do the sport.
Well, you've got some great horses, great firepower right now. Mclain, you've been riding a new horse today.
I did, yeah.
We had Imperial out in Dinemothy.
We have an exciting new horse. Mike and Wendy Smith helped me acquire a horse that's proven at the highest levels of the sport with Tim Gredley. We were looking for a horse to really compete against these guys, and we had an opportunity, and they stepped up. I've been very lucky throughout my whole career to have had brilliant sponsors, starting with Harry Gill years ago, on through Hunter Harrison, Tom Grossman, Susie Heller, and many, many more. But yeah, this is an exciting horse for the future, for the next few years. And I have to say, I didn't sleep much last night. I was excited to show him and compete him and feel him, and he felt brilliant today. So it's a good beginning.
And Richie, you've got a lot of. I've seen several because we've been at a few different shows, not just this one together. You've got a few different horses now on the rise.
Yeah, obviously the one up there still is United Touch.
Yeah.
He you know, really did some amazing things in the past years, and he's just getting more mature, more experienced, which makes my job easier and easier. Also, we know each other better and better. But as Ken said, I think it's always important to try to, you know, have your eyes also in the future and make sure there's some horses coming after that. And also, with only one horse, you still have a pretty weak string. So we're trying to build up something around United.
Which are the maybe two horses we should be looking for in your
Okay, this week I have all my trust and faith in Event de l'Eribus. He's 10 years old. He had a good circuit and has great ability. It's coming a little early for him, but we believe he can do it, and he, you know, needs to get this experience in those classes. And then another exciting horse is Claudio. We were together in Hong Kong. He did very well there. He won the Friday's big class and was third in the Grand Prix. So yeah, he's also an exciting horse for the future, and a horse I'm thankful to have.
Looking forward to the rest of the season. Of course, plenty of those Rolex Series events to go to. Let's take a look at some questions for all of you at home for our riders. Let's start with Richie. And the first of the questions we've got for you is from Bobby, and it's how did you learn to adapt to United Touch's stride? Because he has a, I mean, just explain.
Leaves out strides.
You guys are putting in 6, he's putting in 4.
He didn't adapt at all. He just does one
a different course.
Yeah.
I just stopped counting strides, you know, and just tried to, you know, figure a way out. No, United, what truly makes him amazing is not only his abilities and his scope and his big stride, obviously, but also his will to improve, his will to learn. We had to work hard on this, but you know, over the years he got more balanced, and it's easier for him to also carry himself and to put weight on his hind legs and to shorten his stride, but still stay active and not do everything in slow motion. So biggest achievement there is actually how United improved and how he adopted to the whole situation and to those technical courses we have nowadays. But yeah, that took time and that took a lot of work, especially on the flat, not even so much jumping. The jumping was always brilliant. But I think it's more that we have to give credit to United, how much he improved his stride and his way of cantering than me, that I adopted to him.
You adapted too.
Yeah.
Okay, second question for you, Richie. What's one of the biggest lessons you've learnt in your career? Maybe it's even from the guy next to you, I don't know.
Yes, for sure. Many of the important lessons I learned from Mclain. You know, at the end of the day, we do horse sport. So by all the planning you do and by all the responsibilities we have, and you know, there's a lot of conflict sometimes. Also, at the end of the day, it comes down to listen to your horse and to always be, you know, critical whether the next step forward makes sense or should I better go a step backwards, or you know, in a lower class with the horse, especially if you would talk about developing a horse and bringing it up somewhere. Yeah, you have to. I think it's the most important thing is to listen to your horse and be very critical. Is it ready to step up?
Okay. Third and final question. What do you like to do outside of show jumping? What else is going on in your life?
That's our life, really. So there's not so much around. I like to, you know, have good company around, talk to people, meet up with people. But at the end of the day, to be honest, most things we talk about is still horses. So I don't know if that's much.
It's a
different
24/7.
than being. Yeah, exactly. It's our passion. It's our life. So there's not so much around that.
Okay, Mclain, 3 questions for you. First up is, what are your tips, essentially, for getting out of your head when you're riding, things are going well, and how not to dwell on mistakes? I know you're a big thinker.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I could need another show to really go into to my head. You know, it's not been an easy journey for me. I've talked a lot about it. Came up into the sport under quite a bit of pressure, and for a variety of reasons, and you know, really wanted it badly and struggled. I don't want to say struggled with nerves, but struggled with the mental side of the game, and decided at some point to do something about it, even after some pretty good success. And it's something I really embraced. It changed my career, it changed my life. But you know, to put it in the simple terms, when I feel like things are going sideways, either in my head or in reality, I try to focus on the simple things, simple execution. You know, if I were jumping this course at home, what would I do? What would I think about? It wouldn't be all of those exterior, you know, emotions.
Okay. Second question for you. Is there something you've done to work with Ilix's bucking and playing, or do you just let it happen?
I wouldn't say I let it happen. I do try to correct him a little bit, particularly if he does it in the schooling area. But at the same time, you know, it's actually, even though it's quite a big buck, it's quite a rhythmic buck, so he doesn't dislodge you for the most part. And I also don't want to correct it to the point where he overreacts, that he knows I'm going to correct it. So, you know, it's kind of a give and take that we have an understanding. And, you know, after the first jump, he normally doesn't do it. So it's not.
You say he's usually, as you say, first fence, we watched him
yeah,
last week.
1 to 2, and he feels the crowd, he feels the atmosphere, you know, and you know, that's something we know as people who work with these horses and compete. You know, they get up for it. They love it. They feel the energy, and not in a negative way. These are positive reactions and playfulness, and they're enjoying what they're doing and working with us. So it's I don't think it's such a bad thing.
A question I think I know the answer to, but I'm waiting for you. What horse would you say has been the best in your career?
You know, it's a very hard question. I've been incredibly fortunate to have had a lot of brilliant horses, and they've all been a little bit different, and my relationships with them have all been a little bit different. You know, I'd say if I got Sapphire now, I would realize just how brilliant she was. I mean, not only did she win at the highest level of sport, but she did it for a very long time.
Yeah.
2 Olympic Games, 2 World Championships, almost 3 Olympics, multiple World Cup finals. She was brilliant. I wish I had gotten her maybe even a little later and known a little more.
Great. Sapphire then.
Sapphire,
Excellent. Sapphire is the horse. Kent, your questions. What advice would you give to younger riders struggling with confidence?
Struggling with confidence. I think confidence comes from being ready to do whatever it is you're setting out to do. Just like Richie was saying of listening to your horse, it's also listening to yourself. Am I ready to do whatever task is at hand today? Is this the appropriate class for me to be entered? Is my confidence shaky because I'm trying to go a little too fast or jump a little too big? You know, why is a confidence in question? I think is the most important thing to first self-reflect and check. And then if that's in order, then I think it's just a matter of routine. And growing confidence comes from being successful, doing something repeatedly. You start to believe that you can do it again.
Excellent. Okay. Second question, because we know you like the fitness regimes. What's your most beneficial workout activity you do outside the ring?
I try to keep a full body workout so that it's not targeted at one area. It's kind of all inclusive. So if I had to go to the gym and pick one thing that I could do, is probably a simple rowing machine.
Okay. What's some of the harder ones that you do that we couldn't? I've seen you go on your hands upside down. I've seen you do all sorts
I have some background in martial arts, gymnastics, calisthenics, so it's kind of a mix of all of those things. I do that more just to my own personal interest and some entertainment.
You're very good at it. What's going through your mind? The final question. What's going through your mind before you enter the ring?
That's very horse specific. I think Mclain and I would have that in common. We're analytical. At the same time, we're very focused on what are we doing with this horse in that round. Like he talked about his horse Azur, knowing that she cuts to the left and he has to defend a little bit off the front pole of that jump on a short rollback. Would be very specific to the horse that I'm riding. Am I aware they're going to spook at the wall? Are they going to have to?
So say someone like Greer. You're going with Greer.
Again, that would go back into course specific. How does the
Yes.
course begin? Is there anything that I want to see when I enter the arena? Is there a fence that's caused trouble for some other horses that I want to make sure I tour before I start my course? Many variables to that question. I would say the short answer is it's very horse specific, course specific, and what's going to give me the best outcome for that day.
Getting the plan in.
Yeah.
Getting the plan. Let's take a look at what's coming up this week. Thank you to all the guys here. We're going to be looking ahead to this week. And a reminder that not only is show jumping taking place, we've also got dressage going on as well. But tomorrow sees us into the Adequan WEF Challenge Cup, which is going for over $116,000. They're the first of the qualifiers. Also, of course, part of the US Equestrian Open Series, qualifying into that Rolex Grand Prix US Equestrian Open here on Saturday. And then on to later into the week, on to Friday. It takes us into the Big Bainbridge sponsor supported class as well. That also qualifier for the top 10 into that class too on to Friday afternoon. We'll bring you all of that throughout our coverage, not only on the websites here, but also through ESPN as well on their sites too. And, of course, Wellington International and much more besides. And then, of course, it is the big one on Saturday night as well, and that's going to be following in all sorts of different directions. $750,000 Rolex US Equestrian Open Grand Prix. Like I say, you can follow along at Wellington International, USCF. You'll also, as I say, see that onto ESPN as well onto Saturday night as well. So lots to look forward to there. It remains for me to say, you can also see lots going on aside from all of the big 5 stars here. We've got the Hunters, we've got all the show jumping going on in all the different rings. Everything from the itty-bitty jumpers right the way through to the 5-star is all taking place this week. And Mclain will be down at various rings throughout the week.
You'll be the itty-bitty.
You'll be the itty-bitties. Is the
Best
biggest
part of my
Grand
day.
Prix of the week. Thank you very much, all three of you. Richie, Mclain, Kent, thank you for making the time. Thank you for being a part of it. Good luck to you all this week. I'd love to see all 3 of you winning it, but you can't. But a podium of all 3 would be great.
Sounds good.
Take that one. But yes, good luck. Have a fantastic week. It's going to be a
Thanks
big
for the
one.
Great commentary, whole circuit.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Thank you. And so before we completely disappear, we have more to bring you here on WEF Weekly, and to say we have a video part of our Origins series as well. And so we caught up with the rider who's been a big part of that Rolex series last season too, and that was Carl Cook. Take a look at his origin story, brought to you by Origin Investment. That's it, clear. Well, there we go, a little background from Carl Cook, and our Olympic silver medalist. Well, that's it for WEF Weekly for this season, but we've got lots more to bring you throughout the week. We'll be giving you the run-up to all of the big classes here with the Adequan WEF Challenge Cup and to the Friday Bainbridge Speed as well, all part of the US Equestrian Open too. And then in the lead-up to the Rolex Grand Prix US Equestrian Open Series class here on Saturday night as well. From around 6:40, I'll be joined by an amazing line of people into our studio here, and we'll give you the lowdown on what to expect from that Rolex Grand Prix. And then, of course, we're into the Rolex Grand Prix at night, just around 8 o'clock kick-off time with the first horse there as well. That's it for the season. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Some amazing guests all throughout. Thank you to all our supporters, to World Technologies, industry leader in creative design and technological support services for sports, entertainment, corporate and special events. And also to the USEF as well, who supported our live stream throughout the season, in part with support of the US Equestrian Federation and the USEF network. That's it from us. Thank you to everyone this season. We will see you for finale week. The big one is still to be climbed, the biggest mountain of the season. We are near the summit though and heading towards a big Saturday night. We'll see you then.